Hello, how are you, Aisha?
I'm great, thank you.
Welcome to Inamunai.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, we're more than happy to have you here. So, we're going to jump right into
Okay,
this.
great.
The future of fashion.
Yes,
It's sitting right here with us.
the future.
Aisha,
Yeah, so
tell us about yourself.
I'm Nigerian. I grew up here in Maryland, and I spent my youth going back and forth between Nigeria. So that's how that connection really started to grow. But it wasn't until college that I was able to really explore my roots a little bit more. I had more independence to go there and work on my own. I did an internship there, and then also just to spend more time and understand how Nigeria works. And it's very different and very complex, but it's an exciting place. And yeah, I'm just really using the buying headbands as also an offshoot in a way to kind of explore my culture and heritage.
So, you didn't grow up in Nigeria,
No,
correct?
no.
So, is it different being a person that actually travels back there opposed to someone that was actually born and raised there?
Yeah, it's completely different. My interaction with Nigeria has, it's definitely been like a working relationship. I have to make the effort. Growing up, especially with school and education, is very big on my family. The emphasis has been like us focusing on that. So we weren't able to spend as much time like summers, a couple. So to kind of have that type of relationship where you're not living there long term, and when you come to visit. It's always a temporary thing. Now it's kind of we're planting our feet. We recently just kind of have got a home there, so my relationship with Nigeria is becoming definitely more intimate, and I'm starting to understand the dynamics of being an American Nigerian in Nigeria. So
Okay.
yeah,
So,
yeah, it's
your plans are to actually go back to Nigeria to reside.
yes, yeah, and I think before even planting my feet there, I just need to spend more time to understand because, like I mentioned before, the mentality is just completely different. The way things operate is very different from here. So to really make the most of the being there, and also to just have a good experience and being able to operate, I definitely want to spend more time, and hopefully that'll culminate in me being able to move there and potentially do business there.
For some other people who may come across this interview, what's some of the differences that you say as far as
Oh,
cultural wise or just business wise? Like, what are some of the differences between being over in Nigeria and then being here in the United States?
well, operationally, it's just very difficult to get anything done, even if it's going to the grocery store to pick up groceries. It's always a challenge. So it requires a lot of resources, having your own resources, and it also requires knowing how to deal with people and getting them to do what you want them to do, even though you're paying them. So there's a lot of involvement. I can't just say, okay, I want to commission you to do maybe like make this amount of headbands or something. Like I really have to be involved in the process. But that's also kind of what I like because I work directly with the tailors. I mean, we're in like lockstep. We have to always be communicating, and I mean, it definitely takes time and energy, a lot more time and energy than maybe here where I could easily like Skype somebody and just have a conference. But I think the end product it has been great. So basically you have to just instill your own standards. You have to instill and use your own resources, and you have to be very self-reliant in order to get things done there.
Do you see that? Do you see a lot of help within the Nigerian community to help your business prosper? Do you see them like actually giving you the hands, on approach, or do you see them just kind of stepping back, watching you to see whether or not you're gonna succeed, or are people coming forward to actually push you forward to be successful?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. There there are some people, even people that are part of my team when I was building my team, that were there for themselves and not for the team. So, I mean, that's really difficult, and of course that holds back the entire operation. So it's identifying those people as soon as possible and like just getting that cancer out because at the end of the day, it's a very, very difficult business environment. So everybody has their own objective. Even they might really think that my idea is cool and they want to be involved. Again, they have mouths to feed, so like whatever. It's kind of just making sure that the incentives are aligned, that they would want to work with me and do a good job. And if we can get that, then things can really get rolling, and we can probably produce a lot and do even some experimentation with the headbands. So, but yeah, there are people that can hold back.
Well, let's backtrack a little bit. Right, you're a full-time student.
Right.
You
Yeah.
go to school where?
I go to
Studying
school
what?
at NYU at the Stern School of Business, and I'm studying international business economics and Chinese.
Some all can't go past the Chinese.
Yeah.
Why Chinese?
I started studying Chinese in high school, and I started because Spanish was getting a little redundant. But also the general trend with China and its huge involvement in the West, its growing involvement in a lot of African countries. I thought that that would probably be like a very interesting field to start to get into, and I enjoyed it. It opened up so many opportunities for me. I was able to travel to China and work there. I was able to study abroad there, and just getting that experience has really shaped my worldview and understanding of different people. So in conjunction with my business concentrations, it's definitely added a lot more dimension to studying business, because as we know, China is just a growing and more like present in our everyday lives. So to understand not just the technical economics of their economy or what they're forecasting in the market, but to understand kind of the human aspect of it, and you can do that through language. So it just adds a lot more like depth to my studies, and I've really enjoyed studying Chinese. I'm actually going to be continuing my graduate studies in Chinese in London at the University of London this fall.
Oh,
so
congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So, in studying the Chinese culture, and again, this is the trifold effect that you have. Born in America.
Right.
Your parents are from Nigeria.
Yes.
You study Chinese.
Right.
Are there any similarities in the three cultures?
I think so. That's why I really want to kind of find a way to blend China and Nigeria. When I went to China, I mean, it was very shocking. The first time I went, I really couldn't believe that
What's the biggest misperception?
That everything actually is not in English. Like it's entirely in Chinese, everything. And so you like come to realize, it's a very like humbling experience, because you come to realize like English is completely irrelevant here, and irrelevant to normal people. There's no need for anybody to even speak English. So that was the biggest shock when I first went. But the values, I think, are really, really similar. I was able to talk to, so I like just talking to random people. So, and through my Chinese and trying to speak with them, similar values, especially with education when it comes to Nigerians, huge.
Right.
And China, there's a big emphasis there as well. There's a lot of emphasis also on family and respect for elders, so that's something that I could really commiserate with when I was working with my Chinese language partner. And just kind of the traditions, that's another big thing. There's a lot of traditions in Chinese culture, and there are in Nigerian culture as well. So,
what was the reception for you?
Doing
traveling
this,
to China, like having never gone to China, personally, and knowing that obviously it's not a majority of black people there. What was the reception like? Was it like people looking at you all the time, or did you feel comfortable? Did they make you feel comfortable? Like, because you have a lot of people that's, especially like I said, as China continue to grow and to continue to dominate the market, it's going to be everyone's best interest to actually do business directly with China.
Right.
So the world isn't aware of like the relationship. Is it possible to go directly to China to deal directly with them, opposed to having to have that middle person? person there? Obviously, you went there, so you know.
Yeah.
Is it like a great opportunity for
You need
so-called
a middle
outside?
person.
You need a
You
middle
need
person.
a middle
Okay.
person for sure. It's tough. I would say you need a middle person in Nigeria, just because you know. I mean, safety number one.
Mhm.
But in China, yeah, because there's their culture. The culture is so different. That's one of the things I couldn't believe. It's like a completely different world. Like it really is though, because it's completely functional and operating and efficient. So it also kind of puts in perspective life here in America, because there's another society out there that's maybe they're like the opposite, and that's kind of the perception. But it's working just fine,
Right.
and it's and they're managing a lot of people, and they're doing well. So that's also interesting. But yeah, I would say you definitely need a broker there, because to understand Chinese people and to gain the trust in any type of business transaction, I mean, they definitely prefer someone that.
That looks like them.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't even say that though, because especially with business, what I've been learning, people want to make money. So like, if you have the ties or a connection for that, like they're gonna be open to that. But yeah, definitely the preference goes for nationals.
Right.
And you're kind of out of the loop. If you're a foreigner in China, you are a foreigner, and I know that their immigration policies are not always the most favorable for foreigners. So it's definitely an uphill battle being a foreigner in China. But the most important thing is just understanding the people. The language is a huge plus, and of course being respectful of the culture, because if you cross or do something that is unrespectable, they do not forget that. So it's very hard to come back from that and to try and build a relationship after kind of transgressing. And actually for Americans, it's really hard there, because the way we are is so upfront, and we go straight to the business. Like if we wanted to have a business transaction, we'll just say, we'll talk about it and we'll get it done. But there's a lot of niceties, and you must abide by them. So kind of understanding that dynamic is really important.
Now, your headdress,
Yes.
compared to those of the traditional Nigerian headdress, what would you say would be the difference? Obviously, you can look and see this is much smaller.
Right, yeah.
Beyond that, I have no idea. So.
Well, actually, so what I did here, they would think, when I wanted to first make these, they said no. It's not possible.
Who said no?
One of the tailors I wanted to work with, actually, he said it's not possible because we don't use these materials to make these types of things. Like, it's just not done. So I had to find somebody who's a little bit more risk-taking to help me bring this to life. And the traditional Nigerian gele is usually worn at big events, weddings, funerals, church,
right.
Of course, the weekly event. But this is a much scaled down version, and it's definitely a modern take on the Nigerian headdress. So this material in particular is a tie and dye, and it's made by hand. It is dyed using different paints and inks, and it's a lot stiffer. So this is also not the type of material that you use for a Nigerian headdress. Usually those ones are very thin, and they are actually more stiff than this, but they require a lot of steps, and they're pretty intricate. This is a lot simpler in design, and it also has elastic in the back. The Nigerian gele is made to fit, so it's like possibly the tightest thing you could ever wear, but it looks amazing.
Right.
Yeah, and that thing is gonna be on your head. So that is tied on you, and it stays like that, and it's kind of like a one-time thing. But this is made so that you do not have to tie anything. You can literally just slip it on. So there's a lot more ease when it comes to this type of design, and it's also meant more so for an everyday type of thing. Events like maybe not church, but you could wear this easily to like a concert or
Right.
something like that.
But you said something earlier about, you know, the easeability of it and just the casualness of it. Like you
Right.
wanted to have a line that was kind of like your get up and go, your today's
Exactly.
person. Like it's more, I gotta go, I'm busy, I have things to do, I don't really have time to sit there and rap, do this, do that.
Right.
Let me just get this, stay within my tradition, stay within my culture, but at the same time, it's 2015.
Exactly.
You gotta make it more hip.
Yeah, exactly. More hip and definitely more streamlined. And that's kind of what I like about it. It's the best of both worlds because you have the fun, like vivaciousness of the patterns and the prints using Nigerian textiles, but then again you have like the ease of I don't know, like the more laid back Americana type of feel with the headband. And so I guess you could kind of call it like bohemian-ish. I guess that's how they might term the whole thing. But yeah, it's definitely a much easier design. Yeah.
So now, not only do you do the headrest, you do the scrunchies. I call them scrunchies,
Oh right,
but
yeah,
I know that's
the
not the
scrunchies.
appropriate
Yeah,
name.
no, it's the scrunchies. That's what I call them. And they're great. They're so fun.
And these are not for your head. These are not to tie your little bun up.
This
is for your bracelet.
Well, it could
It's
be
for
a
your bun too?
bracelet. Yes, of course. You can
Forgive
totally
me, world,
use
for
it.
being
Yeah.
so wrong.
It's-
How American of me to assume.
Yeah, no, the scrunchie. It's completely practical. It's a bracelet. It's for
This
you
is
to tie up your hair, and it's just so fun because it's again just a great pop of color. So all of the scrunchies are handmade.
So they're
as well.
multi-purposed.
Yeah. So you can do something matching like what I'm doing now, or you can even mix. So.
Well, let the world see exactly what you have.
Okay, great.
But this is not the norm. So
This
usually,
is not the norm. Yeah.
headdress, bracelet,
Right.
not
So,
full apparel.
all of this is Ankara, and it's clearly it's all matching, and again handmade. So that's one of the beautiful things about being in Nigeria. The craftsmanship and the skills of a lot of tailors when it comes to custom wear it's like the creme de la creme.
Right.
Also, Ghana is really renowned for their custom clothing, but Nigeria you can easily go to the market and find plenty of tailors all making pieces. So it's more so a matter of design and things like that, and really getting a seamless vision together. So this is this is the scrunchie, the headband, and a dress that I decided to make. And again, all really simple in design despite the busyness of the patterns.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
So, do you see yourself expanding your line anytime in the future? Do you see yourself going into maybe children's fashion? Because at Edmona, they have a huge, children's line that they're really
I've
developing.
seen so cute.
You like it, huh?
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Yeah.
So, what about us men?
I know I get that all the
come
time
on, you gotta do
actually.
something for
Yeah,
us.
because you can kind of rock this, but do something custom. It's definitely a possibility. I would do
Take
this
my
in the
specs
front.
off.
It looked good. We
Which
tried
one?
it on earlier.
Which one's on the front?
Put this in the front. Put this in the front. Yeah. Mhm.
Get my Nigerian. Let me get my Nigerian Tupac on.
Exactly, Nigerian Tupac. See?
Are we get it right here? We good?
Totally feeling it.
When you started designing your headbands, right? Or when you started designing your headgear, what was your original thought? What was your original concept?
My original concept was using the textiles, Nigerian textiles, in some way to make headbands. And honestly, I began with, what's funny? Okay. So the funny thing is that when I was younger, I remember feeling embarrassed by Nigerian fabrics because they were so loud. And I remember my mom would get dressed and it was just so much opulence, so much going on with the patterns. But as I've gotten older and then traveling a lot and living in New York especially, where everybody, like the uniform is black and it's grays, blues, neutrals, it made me yearn for more life. Yeah. So as I was getting older, I started collecting Nigerian fabrics. I got some from my mom and my grandma. So my first pieces were like textiles from them that I made. And yeah, the concept was just basically just yeah, I wanted more vibrancy, I wanted more life, and it's so fun. I really like wearing headbands. I also wore them a lot in high school.
Mhm.
So, but to do something that just spoke to the energy that I felt and the appreciation that I had for all of these like colors and
Right.
prints and things like that. So yeah, my relationship with Nigerian fabrics has not always been like this. Oh, this is this beauty. I didn't always appreciate it, and now I absolutely love wearing them, and I love sharing it with other people too because most people do not see prints and colors and combinations like this, and there are literally like an endless amount of combinations and prints
Mhm.
with Nigerian textiles. So
Let me ask you this though, right? How receptive is the traditional um, how I guess what I'm how receptive has the older generation from Nigeria, or older Nigerians, towards the more youthful, I don't want to say like rebellious styling of their
I
traditional
understand.
wares,
Yeah.
but I guess the more modernization of
Right.
traditional wares. How receptive are they?
The funny thing, and I actually was not expecting this, but it's taboo. That's the vibe that I've gotten. I received the comment again like, when I wanted to first make these. The first tailor I worked with or wanted to work with said that he couldn't do it. It's just not possible to make these headbands because we don't do that. We don't use these fabrics
Not
for
because they
that
couldn't,
purpose.
but just
Yeah,
because
because
they don't.
we don't. Yeah, so it definitely to sell this in Nigeria it would be a lot harder than it is selling it here because we're already open to these. I mean, there's like a cat man. He wears a cat on his head as his like headgear. So haven't you heard about him in New York? There's a cat man. Yeah, it's
I know
amazing.
the parrot
He
guy that wears a
he.
parrot on his head all the
Oh
time.
well, that's kind of hard too. That sounds uncomfortable.
But it just stays there. I have no idea.
Well, the cat just stays there, so like you can clearly wear anything here. But yeah, as we, in Nigeria, things do have meaning, so
Right.
you can't just break and bend those rules. Um, so yeah, I definitely when it comes to these types of headbands, if I'm gonna be like showing it to other Nigerians, they are younger Nigerians because the older ones are kind of confused as to what I'm doing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's just mainly that confusion.
Right. So the younger generation are more receptive.
Yeah, definitely.
So do you see the traditional um, dress, the dress code
Hmm.
changing to becoming more modern? Do you see, I guess, the youth? Is it fair to say that they become a little bit more westernized? Are
Oh,
they accepting a more
definitely.
westernized
Mhm.
uniform opposed to again the traditional, Nigerian garb?
It's yeah for the youth, definitely more westernized, and when it comes to fashion, a little bit more adventurous. But traditional Nigerian wear is still huge.
Hmm.
Do not get me wrong. Like something like this print is what a woman like selling something at the side of the road will be wearing. She'll be wearing a vibrant wrap at the bottom, and then just like a plain top. So that's definitely not something that you see here to someone at this, and it looks beautiful too.
Right.
As for the uniform, Nigerian fashion though is it's so much like in flux and changing, and it's definitely adapting. Like now, as of recently, I know like velvet has been like a big material there, so you see a lot of velvet skirts instead of the traditional, more stiffer skirts that you're used to seeing. But then there's just some like die-hard things that I don't think will ever change, and one of that is the mermaid shape clothing. So it's kind of the physique of a Nigerian woman is
Gotcha.
top heavy waist,
Right.
and the clothing really emphasizes that.
Mhm.
So you're gonna have like a small waist and then a larger hip and everything. And so the most popular dress design is this type of mermaid type of fit. So that's something I don't see going away at all.
Mhm.
But in terms of being like more open and more westernized, I definitely think that the youth is, but the older generation is still into experimenting. And I still think that the older generation, in comparison to here, again, when you look at their clothes, I just saw my grandma who's 82, and she was again in her like fit and flare mermaid
Mm-hmm.
outfit. But because our fabrics are just so vivacious and lively, it just looks so like youthful on
Mm.
her, and quite frankly, just very very beautiful, very
Right.
bright. So yeah, I think that's just the Nigerian aesthetic.
So being with Inamuna, right?
Mm.
You see the platform in which they're providing for up and coming designers, even established designers. How do you feel about being a part of the Inamuna family? Let's talk about that. Like being embraced and not only being a part of the family, being the in-house designer for Inamuna. How does that feel?
It's such a unique opportunity, and for me, it's the perfect platform to experiment, but also collaborate. And I think that's what I'm most excited about this whole journey and process. Is that before I would design for myself or for others, but it was more so my vision. But there's nothing like creating and building stuff with other people,
Right.
and especially helping to bring other ideas to life. So it's honestly a very exciting opportunity, and I'm looking forward to definitely collaborating with everybody and getting these bringing these like designs to life.
Do you think that the Nigerian culture, also the African culture, do
Hmm.
you think that will be as catty as the European culture when it comes to fashion? Do you think it's just as cutthroat? Do you think
Mm.
it's just as a dog eat dog world in the African world of fashion as it is in the European world of fashion?
Well, honestly, I'll just speak to Nigeria, but Nigeria is dog eat dog. It doesn't matter what industry you're
Oh
in.
yeah.
So, yes, I do see that. And the competition is really high in Nigeria. Tailors and custom made clothing is not like an anomaly. It's been around for really hundreds of years, custom made clothing. So you see a lot of tailors in Nigeria. There is definitely not a deficiency, but with that comes, of course, competition when it comes to price. There's competition when it comes to how many they're willing to do or their
Right.
amount, and also everybody gets things custom made. Again, like I mentioned, you're gonna be wearing your gele on Sunday. You're going to church. You're wearing your full traditional Nigerian wear. And women, we like to have options, so they're always at the tailors getting
Yeah.
things made. So yeah, it's definitely that whole world it is
Serious.
tough. It is really tough. Yeah, they're not playing, and it's not like mainly dominated by women. It's actually you see a lot of male tailors, great tailors.
Right. So in closing, which your demographic? Like who are you targeting for your particular product?
So right now, I've sold my headbands in China. I've been selling them as of late in New York, and my demographic has really been so it's generally women buy my headbands, but it's for anybody who wants to have a really unique, one of a kind piece, and somebody who has the confidence to wear something as vibrant and as busy and funky as this. So it's really anybody with hair, but someone, I remember I had one client who got a couple and she did not have hair, but she really liked my headband, so she got some. So that was a huge compliment.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's great. So any parting words that you would like to leave with the Inamuna family, world at large? Anything that you want to say about yourself that you may have not covered, in the interview?
Yeah, with regards to the Inimunai family, I am so really blessed to be a part of it, and I'm very excited to work on it. And I think it's really just the beginning of what we can do with our African culture. And it's very exciting because it's now I'm able to share a piece of my own culture with the world in some way. I I made this as an expression, I guess, for myself and my heritage. But I really want to share this with the world, and I really want to share it with other people. I want to like spice up your life. Like this is a great way to do that.
It is. It definitely is.
And so, and it's just generally fun. So, yeah, I'm excited to also see where headbands will take me, because even thus far, it's opened up a lot of doors and introduced me to a lot of people and got me more connected with even other cultures. I collaborated with the Asian Student Society at NYU. I've also worked with the African Student Society at multiple schools with fashion shows. So it's just kind of like a mishmash of people that are interested and open to other cultures and want to explore. And this is like a great way to kind of delve into or get to know Nigerian culture a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, I want to tell you first and foremost, I thank you very much. I thank you for
Thank you.
sharing
Yes, of course.
your fashion designs, but most important, like, to sharing your culture.
Thank
I mean, the world has a lot that it can learn, especially through fashion. And as I was speaking earlier, is that a lot of designers never really have meaning behind their wares. They just design it. And like I said, it's a lot of copycats. This person did it, they were successful, so I'm going to try it.
Yeah.
And what I've learned in studying, like I said, the designers coming out of Africa, very few have designed things with no meaning. So it's very important that, the world understands that, the pieces, whether it's, again, it be a headband, a dress, shoes, whatever the case may be, everything is made with meaning, even in the materials that's chosen.
Right.
It is specifically chosen for these particular products, opposed to just randomly just putting it together.
Absolutely, yeah.